Everyone, I'm Kim with Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me for another Mystery Mystic Mondays. This one is going to be heavy, I imagine. I haven't done the readings yet. And before we even name this lovely human being, I want to thank Tia for sending this recommendation to me in my inbox for mysterymysticmondays@gmail.com. You all can send me case suggestions anytime, whether it's for Mystery Mystic Mondays or Mystery Mystic Musings. I will get them and respond to you that I got it. So thank you, Tia, for recommending this case. Whoa, this one's going to be a challenging one for a number of reasons, okay? Alicia Jackson, a young mom of a toddler and home alone with her toddler, was stabbed over 30 times. And that happened in 2010. And it is a cold case. And so that in and of itself is going to be challenging to delve into, right? Because, my God, this beautiful soul was taken in such a horrific way in front of her child. And the case is still unsolved. That really is just not right. So that in and of itself is going to make it challenging. But I did a pre-reading, and the 3 cards that came up in that pre-reading, and if you all know who read the cards, you know this ain't good. So we got the Ten of Swords, the Sun, and then the Devil. So this is a very personal, a very high sense of level of betrayal type of murder. Okay, so that we know. And we knew that just by the sheer number of stab wounds, right? 30, that means it's personal. But the Ten of Swords and the Devil card tells me that this destruction took over this beautiful bright light in Alicia, and that's going to be hard. That's going to be hard for me as the reader and probably you as the viewer. So if this is too much, you all, and I suspect for some of you it will be, you don't have to watch this one. You can watch the next one. You can watch some of my other things that I do on the channel. I won't be offended. But I am grateful to those who do watch, grateful to those who share their insights, what comes up for them, even just prayers for those affected by what happened to Alicia. That's always welcome. So, all right, you all, without further ado, let's get started. Okay. We are connecting with Alicia Jackson. We are connecting with her spirit guides via my spirit guides, and we thank you, Spirit. We are looking for insights into who hurt her, who did this, why did they do this, what was behind taking this beautiful life, what was behind that. She was stabbed so many times on her face, her neck, just, you know, just, it's really upsetting every time I look into her case. And I've been sitting with this case for a few weeks now after it was recommended to me to do it. And I've been just looking at her pictures, and I even went to her LinkedIn. You know, I have a LinkedIn for my professional career, and every now and then I pop on there, even though I don't do that kind of work anymore. But I looked at hers and I was like, wow, what an amazing, amazing woman. Already so accomplished by the age of 25 and a mom. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's take a look. I'm going to zoom in, but first let me show you these cards. This is the ladder, rat, okay, frog, shovel, my little key, and fish. Okay, now I'm going to scoot up and zoom in so you guys can see it a little more clearly. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let me get my wand together here. We have the ladder, rat, frog, shovel, and fish. And ladder is about high achievements. It's about overcoming obstacles and stepping up in life, okay? So what comes to mind is a couple of things about this. So in my, review of the articles surrounding Alicia, she was highly accomplished. She had a bachelor's degree in architecture and a master's, I want to say, in like urban development, urban planning, so she was highly accomplished, and she was only 25 at the time of her passing, and she was a mom, and she was engaged to get married. So there was a lot of ascension going on in her life at the time of her passing, okay? But this card's meaning is also about overcoming obstacles. One of the obstacles that had come up in her life that was made public in the news articles was her relationship with her fiance. They overcame an obstacle of his infidelity. He had a baby outside of their relationship, a baby that was probably not too far off from the age of her child, her baby. And so they chose to work through this and to get through it. Okay, that's what they made the choice to do as a couple. All right, her and her fiance. And so I didn't see any other main obstacles, like any disputes with friends, her stepping out on her relationship. It doesn't mean that it didn't happen, and we'll explore that as I do this reading. And one thing I'm going to say about this reading is I'm going to take my time. I'm doing the overall overarching oracle readings today, but I'm going to sit with what came up with them versus how I normally do. I'll go right into the tarot and oracle reading. No, this week I'm just going to write down a question as it comes to me as I think about this reading. So I'm going to do it a little differently because this is a cold case, by the way. This was in 2010. So I want to take my time. The rat card. This could speak to just the infidelity that they had to overcome, right? They had to overcome some challenges here. Someone betraying someone else, a traitor, an untrustworthy person, a disease that festered inside the relationship. It's really difficult to overcome infidelity, especially when a baby is born out of it, okay? It causes a lot of mistrust. It feels like this person is a traitor. This person betrayed you. And as much as you try to get over it, it is a challenge, okay? So I'm sensing that this is what these are speaking to here. This also could mean that she encountered or dealt with someone who was a traitor, who maybe portrayed themselves as someone who was trustworthy, someone to count on. But in the end, they were not someone to count on. In fact, they were a rat. In fact, they were, and I don't know who the other woman is. No one made any mention of this other woman or whether or not she was cleared in the investigation. I don't know if the fiance's extramarital relationship, the woman from that relationship, was ever named a suspect, ever interviewed. I don't know. It was not mentioned in many of the articles that I read through. Okay, so I don't know. But the frog is also about a disguise, some sort of transformation. Now, this could speak to, okay, maybe the fiance really isn't a suspect, but it also, the frog has meanings of disappointment, okay, a letdown, something unpleasant that you have to accept about this frog, okay? And it was really challenging for her to accept this. As much as Alicia put on a strong face that she was accepting of what the transgression was in that relationship, it was still very difficult. Okay. It's like a toad, and you kiss a toad, and you hoped for the toad to transform into the prince. And oftentimes there's disappointment still. Sometimes we think, oh, if we fall in love with the nerd or the ugly duckling or the person who, seems cool, but then you kiss them, you try to fall in love with them, and then they let you down. It can feel like such a letdown, even more than if you had just fallen in love with somebody who's highly attractive, has everything going for them. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if this makes any sense, but perhaps her fiance is really attractive. I don't know, but I'm sensing here that the relationship was not what it seemed. Okay, it just wasn't what it seemed. And I'm saying this also because of the shovel card and the rat card. But the shovel here, you see that? So this could be about uncovering a truth or burying a truth. It could be about digging into a situation, trying to get to the bottom of things, trying to uncover something, or it could be about covering up something. This could be related to a cover-up, related to an interpersonal relationship. Okay. It also could speak to trying to do the work, the effort that was made or presented to the public, to everyone who was looking at this relationship. It could be like, okay, they are doing the work. They are really trying to make this thing go. They were going to be moving to, I guess, from, I'm assuming from Ohio to Texas for the fiance's job. So in a few months following when she had passed. So they had these plans in place. And so it was like, okay, they were trying to do the work. But this is also can speak to a cover-up. Okay. And then the fish, pregnancy. This card typically is associated with pregnancy, unconscious thoughts, good fortune. So their good fortune, they were going to move. They were going to try to make this work. But it also represents suspicion. It could be suspicion from Alicia. It could be her fiance knowing now that he had cheated on her. Would she cheat on him? I don't know if maybe that's the case or not. We'll see how the readings unfold as we do them, okay? But the fish card could also speak about the pregnancies. I'm not saying that I don't think he got anyone else pregnant, but he got 2 women pregnant in a short period of time. That for sure can cause some level of resentment. This is not to place blame on him. This is not to place blame on the other woman, but I'm just simply saying, as someone who has actually been in a similar situation before, it causes a lot of resentment, especially when you're the woman who is left behind, okay? especially when you're the one that's not moving to Texas, especially when you're the one that he's not choosing to be with and to make a life with. It can fester, it could cause a lot of resentment, anger, and you want to get rid of in hopes of, you know, to keep your little family intact. You want to get rid of the threat. Who is the threat? Alicia's the threat. Alicia's the threat. And I found it interesting, as probably law enforcement found it interesting too, is that all these stab wounds, all this harm done towards Alicia, but not one scratch on her son. And that's because whoever did this was completely okay with the son coming along, the baby, but not her. She was an inconvenience. She had to go. And also what's interesting to me is I wonder who this woman is. Is this someone that betrayed Alicia's trust? Someone that she knew, a friend, a colleague, someone that she thought was cool, but then in the end turned out to be a traitor who was messing with this frog, which is represented with the fiance? I don't know. But that's what I'm picking up here. I'm picking up here that the energy surrounding her passing was something of, it was personal. As this couple was trying to ascend and to grow, there was somebody who just couldn't stand it, was jealous, resentful, hateful, spiteful, and wanted to do something to knock them off their path. And now it's been covered up. And it has something to do with pregnancies. I don't know if this meant that maybe Alicia is pregnant or not. I'm not sure. But anyways, I'm going to pause here and then we'll continue in just a moment. Okay, so we're at the next part of the oracle reading. Spirit, what happened? Who caused this? Let me start over. Who caused this? Who is responsible for what happened to Alicia? Who's responsible? What was the relationship with this person to Alicia? Thank you, Spirit. And Reshuffle because I'm looking for just one more card to fit my puzzle. Okay, so let's talk about it. Now, a few key things that stand out to me as I'm looking at this is planned, false, or corruption. I'm not sensing that a police officer is involved. What I'm sensing this is more so somebody impersonating or coming across as one way, but really they are not with that rat card. The truth is buried. The weapon could be buried. This is someone who is unknown to the police, not in the system, and has a clean record. So whoever is responsible has not really done a crime like this, or a crime where they would be in the, the system, okay? And what I also find interesting, though, is this card. It says legal, court, documents, eyewitness, or statement. So there could have been a witness. There could have been witnesses, and it may behoove the police to re-interview witnesses that they spoke to, in the past. And clearly, it's been several years since this happened, right? It was 2010 when this happened. Even if it's witnesses who were neighbors at the time, maybe not people who were actually involved, but just trying to see if they can go back and remember some details, noises, anything that could help draw the attention to look over everything once over again with this eyewitness card. This is also about some sort of legal matter going on with this particular person. This person could have some sort of child custody or child support kind of arrangement, something in the courts. There could be some sort of court records that may not directly be involving Alicia, but could be somehow playing a part in figuring out who this person might be. And in those records could be some kind of clues speaking on even Alicia. Okay, that's what I'm picking up on here. This person had perhaps had a drinking problem, could have been intoxicated or had to get intoxicated to build up the courage to do what she did and I'm really feeling strongly it was a female. There's a strong female energy coming through. Even with this woman holding the glass, it just feels very much like a strong feminine energy here that's involved. Okay. It's important to pay attention to the hours leading up to the attack. Okay. It's also important to look at people's behaviors in the hours following the attack. All right. Family is at the heart of this. It doesn't mean her family did it or family members. I mean, you can interpret it as you may. It could be the family she created. It could be someone who felt like their family was threatened. Someone who was jealous of her family. Okay, because we have the jealousy issues, and this was personal. Next to the male child victim card. Let me see if I can zoom in so you guys can see some of those cards for a minute. So male child victim. Now, I don't know what the sex of the child that the fiance had fathered. I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but I do know that her child was a son. And so he is a male victim in this sense because he was there at the time of the attack. He was there. So he was there while his mom was being stabbed 30 times. Okay. He is a victim. He is now without his mother, a mother who loved and doted on him. But this also could speak to another male child victim in this whole mess. A child victim that doesn't even know that they are a child victim. I can't get over how this was personal. Okay. This is personal. This was a planned attack. Okay. This was planned. And this is arising out of an affair, infidelity, lust, temptation. There was a jealousy issue here. This was personal. This attack was very personal. Someone felt quite threatened. Their money could have been affected by the ascension, right? Let me zoom back out. The ascension that was happening over here in the ladder card, there in Alicia and her fiance's life was threatening to this person. Maybe money. I mean, also we can't rule out that perhaps somebody may have paid another person to have done this. I feel like that's kind of weak. I'm not really picking up on this. I'm feeling like if someone had did this attack, and they were hired to do it, it wouldn't have been so just overkill. Because it really was overkill with all of the stab wounds and attacking her face, her neck, her upper body the way they did. So the money piece is talking about being tied to this affair. Tied to an affair. It's been years. It's been so many years. And it almost seems like the perfect crime because this person has been able to get away with this particular crime for years. They've been able to submerge, bury, we saw that with the shovel card, their involvement. There was some sort of movement. Once the crime happened, maybe this person who is ultimately responsible moved away. They may have moved away in July. Maybe some movement, a major move happened in September. This was 200 to 500 kilometers away, so the person who is responsible didn't live terribly, terribly far from where the crime occurred with this 35 to 60 kilometers card. But eventually, they did move out of the area. The autumn card could just simply mean that this did happen in late autumn. This was December 10th, I believe, of 2010, and that's late autumn. That's right in the middle of the holiday season, right when someone was really feeling on the outs, really feeling like drowning in their emotions and sorrow. They were drowning in their emotions and sorrow and could not escape. Money being an issue tied to this legal court situation. Finally, we have whistleblower coming forward and truth revealed. Could be in the month of July, years in the making. And of course, I will look in, when I do the tarot reading, we'll ask more specific questions about timing of when this truth will be revealed. But it's going to have to take reinvigorated police officers, investigators, detectives to really look at things again and to look at things with new eyes. They are saying that, the fiance had an alibi, and he probably did. I'm sure he had a rock solid alibi, but that doesn't mean that his actions over here, the betrayal, didn't lead to someone else doing something. It doesn't mean that, the people who are closest to this situation, closest to this affair, temptation, or infidelity didn't have anything to do with it. And it's time to look a bit broader. It's time to look at court cases that may seem unrelated. For example, any kind of lawsuits in small claims court, child custody, trying to think what else, child support, money, some sort of suit. Something that doesn't necessarily imply criminal, but in a civil matter, it could hold some clues as to the venom of the level of jealousy this person had. Okay? I'm strongly sensing, and I don't know who this person is, but I'm strongly sensing a woman-female energy. I will confirm that with the tarot reading because I'm going to ask questions, tough questions like, what was the nature of the relationship between Alicia and her fiance? Was she stepping out of the relationship maybe because she now felt like she could, or were they both faithful at that point? Is this other person that I'm picking up on with the fish card and this lust, affair, temptation, infidelity having something to do with the woman who may have felt scorned, left behind, drowning in her emotions and sorrow? The holidays are coming, I'm picking up. It can especially feel really lean and lonely as a woman who's had a baby with a man who's already in an established relationship, a relationship that had family ties, like their extended family was all tied together and close to one another. And so it probably felt quite lonely. Male child victim, like, my child, what is my child going to get? And what am I going to get? I'm going to be left with nothing. It's the holidays, and you're not going to spend it with me. You're not going to do this with me. You're not going to do that with me. I sense that she's probably very resentful. It was personal. She moved out of the area. Key times for this case is September, July, and autumn. Autumn probably could just symbolize when the crime occurred. Okay, so I won't go over too much. I'm just making sure I covered all of the cards. It looks like I have. I'm going to pause here and take a quick picture. But before I do that, I am going to just see. No, I'm going to pause here. I have one more oracle card set that I'm going to pull from, and then we'll wrap up the oracle reading. Okay, so last bit for the oracle reading. Spirit, is there any additional guidance that you can share or impart? Okay. So someone coerced the killer into murdering the victim. Okay. Someone coerced the killer into murdering the victim. Coerce could mean a number of things I'm picking up on here. Coerce could mean like, you know, kind of conditioning their mind, talking it up each day, like what our life would look like if this person, if Felicia wasn't in it anymore, you know, and really just conditioning the mind. Even if they just stop short of, you know, saying outright, you need to get rid of her. Even stopping short, it's just like over the time period, like whenever the affair started, it could have been, it started in July, September, and then by autumn, this person has now fully immersed themselves into the idea of planning, getting close to Alicia, planning, because here's the thing, Alicia opened the door. There was no signs of forced entry into her townhome. So this person is someone that is known to her. She knew this person. Now it could be, okay, yeah, maybe an officer did impersonate and she let the officer in and you know, they attacked her, but it feels so personal to me. So someone was coerced the killer into murdering the victim. So that's one of the cards that is wow. It says take a closer look at one of the suspects. So what this is telling me is that law enforcement has already interviewed this person. They may have even already cleared them, even though they need to come back to this again with new eyes and look at things closer. There's someone I'm sensing here who was just kind of emotionally imbalanced. Could have been because they drank a lot or they drunk a lot during this time period. Maybe they've sobered up since then. Maybe they've gone to rehab. They've turned their life around. I don't know. But I feel like that ties into it. And so they being law enforcement needs to come back to the drawing board and take another look at the suspects. Okay? Because there's some, I'm sensing they've already interviewed them. With this card, it says suspect lives near the scene of the crime. And lives near the scene of the crime could mean physical proximity to Alicia's townhome, and it also could mean the proximity to the victim herself. That they live close. They could have been a friend or like an acquaintance. I keep hearing it. And it could be either Alicia speaking directly to me or her spirit guide saying, this was someone who was like a friend. This is someone she knew. This is someone she let into her home. This is someone who lives nearby. Someone who lives nearby. Hence, also why law enforcement has already interviewed them, because they're in close proximity to her, just knowing her, and, you know, also living near her. And then finally, we have social media will provide valuable clues. So that again is speaking to this person is known to Alicia. This person, though, lust, affair, temptation, infidelity. I don't know if this meant that she was having an affair with this person who did this. That's a possibility. That is a possibility. But I don't know. I don't know about that. We'll see how the tarot cards come through and see what comes about. But it says social media will provide valuable clues. Social media posts, DMs, messages going back and forth. Going through their social media, especially during the months of September, July, autumn, hours before the attack, hours after. Mind you, this happened in 2010. This happened in 2010. So I remember signing up to Facebook in 2009. I was on MySpace, but MySpace wasn't really, you know, like, it was like the beginnings of social media. So I don't know if the officers who were investigating back then understood, like, all the messaging that goes on, the pictures, you know, it's almost like they have to do a forensic review again of the social media during these key points. September or July, then September, then autumn time, the hours leading up to and following the attack. So that's what I'm picking up on here. This is someone she likely knew, that she felt comfortable allowing to come into her home with her and her child. This was planned. This is somebody who was impersonating, acting away, but really they weren't a way. They were a rat. They were a frog. They were a toad. There was a toad all the way through. The male child victim. I don't think it's only speaking to Alicia's son. But thankfully the truth will be revealed at some point. Okay. So I'm going to stop here. I think I have enough information now to formulate my questions on what I want to ask during the tarot and oracle reading that we'll be doing. And yeah, heavy stuff here, heavy stuff. All right, you all. Thanks so much for watching this portion. Please be sure to tune in to the part 2, the tarot and oracle reading. That would be most appreciative. Also, please hit the like button on your way out, and don't forget to subscribe, because we will definitely be doing a lot more of this type of content. And I do encourage you to share with me different cases that you would like me to explore for Mystery Mystic Mondays or Mystery Mystic Musings. All right, my loves, take very good care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.